show of hands, who here is a UXer? All right, quite a lot. Who here is a researcher? A few, yeah. Who would consider themselves to be a designer? What about a developer? Any developers today?
No.
Nice. Engineer, who is an engineer? That could be, yeah, who has an engineering degree? Oh, a few more. All right, nice. You guys are still engineers, even though you're not working with it. It's fine. You can be proud and say, I am an engineer. So, who here has successfully, by show of hands, explained UX, or something to that extent, to your mom? How do you explain what you do to your mom? Who has successfully explained it to your coworkers? I work in a pretty big organization. I struggle with it sometimes. Successfully explained to your boss? Nobody? Nobody successfully explained to your boss what UX is? Not even the two people in the back who actually has a UXer as a boss? Alright, oh, nice. How'd you do it? How did you explain it? Did you just show them this? Have you seen this before? It's called the design squiggle. Designers love to show this. Show how we go from uncertainty to clarity. Maybe you try walking them through some design thinking. How about that? All it takes is this not so simple 5-step process, and you will do great things. How about a double diamond? Show them that. Or maybe you just went, oh, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to drown them in process. I've done all of these, by the way, so don't be ashamed. Did you ever mention the word delight? Have you heard the word delight when it comes to design and UX and product development? Now, what is it with that word, delight? We've used that word forever. At every sort of new product launch and stuff like that, you hear about delightful, delight. What's our obsession with that word, and what does it mean? And what do we talk about, and what do you think about when you hear delightful UX? Do you think about swooshes? Animations? How about some sassy microcopy? This is also known as surface delight. In reality, it can be sort of interpreted as unrequired functionality. It's not going to solve any problems. However, it can have a powerful effect on the way something is perceived and the way something is experienced. A great example of this, of surface delight, is a game called Red Dead Redemption 2. It's a cowboy game, so you spend a lot of time on horseback. And the developers actually modeled testicles on the male horses. You might not be able to see very well, so here's a better view. But not only did they model them, they actually gave the testicles physics. Red Dead Redemption 2 has fully simulated weather, and the horse's balls actually shrink and expand if it's warm or hot outside. And it's delightful. So why does this matter? Why are these horse testicles relevant? Well, first of all, Red Dead Redemption 2 is already a highly immersive experience. Horse testicle physics is just another tiny detail adding to the realism. To have an emotional connection with your user, you must first solve a problem or meet a need. So just like Maslow, his hierarchy of needs in the 1940s, I might have added the last part, but you all know it's true. There's also a hierarchy to be able to reach. It's called delight. So, and this goes through the whole product. So first, it must be functional. Your product must be functional. So this is a technical problem. Does it even work? Does the car even start? I work in telco. Can you even make a phone call? Solve the technology and you have met that criteria. Super simple, right? Next, they need to be reliable. This is also a technical problem. Does it work every time? Can I make a call every time I try to make a call? Can the network handle the traffic? Can I make a phone call anywhere and everywhere, etc.? Does the car start every time I try, well, nowadays, to push the button rather than trying the key? Then after that, it needs to be usable, easy to learn, or somewhat easy to learn, easy to use, easy to remember. This is a technical problem combined with a UX problem. Solve those and you have a usable feature. Can the users actually use it without any extensive training or onboarding or hand-holding? Once you have that, then you can start enhancing that experience by adding unrequired functionality. Some companies, they spend way too much time and work on the presentation, and they ignore the basics. They're designing for the sake of design. This is also known as dribblification. Or you try to be here right away. The thing is that there are no shortcuts to this. Like, it either works or it doesn't. It's either stable or it's not. Adding some swooshes and sassy microcopy is not going to help anything. If you can't make a phone call, it doesn't matter how good the phone is. It's dead. If the foundation isn't set, you risk of making a promise that your product simply can't handle, resulting in something that looks nice, but it works like shit. Or it's just downright unusable. If this foundation is set, users are able to reach a state that we like to call flow, or immersed productivity. Reserve a table, get directions, send a message, without technology or UI getting in the way. It's also known as intuitive. When you just pick something up for the first time and you suddenly, you just know how to use it. It's also known as deep delight. It's about meeting the user's needs. And while deep delight isn't as sexy as surface delight, the foundation is the most important step from going from fun to valuable. A good example of this is Apple Maps versus Google Maps, for instance. Apple Maps comes pre-installed on the phone. You just start your phone and it's there. If you have an iPhone, that is. If you have a Google phone, you don't have it at all. So, Google Maps, you have to go to the App Store, start your phone, go to the App Store, search Google Maps, download it, and then you can start. Yet the difference in usage between these two apps is staggering. In 2017, 70% of iPhones use Google Maps, while 11% of iPhones use Apple Maps. So why is this? Well, Apple Maps, when they launched, they were all about, oh, we have 3D functionality, you could do like a double finger swipe thing and it would tilt and it would all come up in 3D, you could do 3D satellite flyovers and everything, but pathfinding was shit. It didn't have the good directions outside of the US, etc., etc. So even with all the bells and whistles, Siri integration and everything, Apple Maps quickly took over. Because while it might not have been as sexy as Apple Maps, it actually just solved the problems. What do you want to do? You want to search for directions? And you want directions there. You want some navigation. It took them years to achieve just basic map functionality. In 2018, Apple came out and said, we're going to do Apple Maps from the ground up. Nice. You launched it 5 years ago. Good job, guys. They went top down and they suffered from it. They still do. So what does this mean for Surface Delight? Is it unnecessary? Not at all. In a world with similar products, all phones look the same. They work basically the same. It's all about preference. I work in telco, we all promise the same thing. 99% coverage, our price plans are about the same, unlimited data, etc., etc. This is where Surface Delight becomes essential. Delight is the tiebreaker. Delightful is what separates the good from the great. But not until your product actually solves the product or the need. Because in reality, people don't care about our products. They care about their problems, their needs. The bigger the need that you meet, the bigger the connection. We also, at Tele2, we recently had some change management going on. We bought a company, a broadband company that serves broadband called ComHam. We've had a shitload of change management. It's been really frustrating. But one of the good things that we did is that we also evolved our identity. So I don't know if you remember how Tele2 was a year ago, or if you've seen the ads or anything. But what we did as a UX team is that we spearheaded a change process, not only in our actual product, but also the way we communicate as a company. So we went beyond just the product. So at Tele2, our UX teams is a little too bright, but I guess you'll get the gist of it. We helped transform the company from a focus on surface delight, which was apparent in the ads. Let's see if we can get this started with sound.
Mike has limited dance moves. But thanks to Tele2, he's got unlimited surf. That's a classic move. Nice.
Fun, right? Advertising, yay. Pretty classic, typical. But this type of thing also propagates through the company. There's not a focus on the actual solving needs and stuff like that. So what we did through this entire spring is that we were deeply embedded in this whole journey of change, where we had the UX team was a big part of the company's change as well. And finally, we landed in something that has more to do with deep delight. That song kills me every time. But you see the difference, right? And you feel it. Delightful takes talent. Delightful takes time. It takes understanding, caring, and craftsmanship. Delightful is somebody emotionally connecting with something you designed, because you gave them one less thing to worry about in life. Thank you. Who has questions? Yes, sir, in the back.
So you showed like 2 ads. Like, did you have also some information? Like, how did the 2 ads impact, the company? Like, what was one ad much more efficient than the other to create more emotional attachment?
Really well. All the numbers is just, yeah. These were shown about at the same point of the year. So we're comparing the dancing ads from the same point last year with this one. Yes, sir.
So how should you think about delight if you don't do the bottom things in your triangle?
Well, I can take an example that made me almost want to quit. It's just a couple of weeks ago, where we had at Tele2, we had some technical difficulties where just for a few hours, Telenor also had these, by the way, so, where you couldn't even call 112 or 911 for our American friends, which was fantastically awful and just made me want to jump out the window, or at least throw my computer out the window. You could be like, guys, you don't even need me here. You guys can just... So that's super frustrating. And that just goes to the point is that in most of today's, how products are staffed today, you have CEOs, you have POs, you have CTOs, you have COOs, marketing departments that all have a direct impact on the way a product works and feels, because these are all your stakeholders that all have a say. So it's a lot about stakeholder management, and just one good thing is about bringing them into the process and making them see why it's actually better and how much better it gets once you do get involved. Because some products can work even though they're not, we have Microsoft products and you have a bunch of products that don't really look too nice, but they just work and they do the job and they're really popular. Slack is not sexy by any means, but it does the job fantastically well. Even though they, spruced it up a little bit. But once it came, it was just an interface, chat app. Did that answer your question, or did it give you more questions?
That was a good answer. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Thanks again.
Okay, Sam. And